forbidden knowledge, gods of the Bible, the Enuma Elish, creation of the earth. Throughout the Bible, there are many mentions of other gods that tempt and sway the children of Israel away from the God of Israel. In this continuing series, Gods of the Bible, we will go over who these gods are, where these gods come from, and how these gods affect the Bible. Previously, we covered Marduk's war with the primordial creator goddess Tiamat. Tiamat, who was convinced by the new gods to avenge her consort that had been murdered by Enki, and bring rest to the lawless action of the new gods who allied with Enki. Enuma Elish, the creation of the earth. The Babylonian epic creation story, the Enuma Elish, tells the story of the primordial gods of the Babylonian gods and the Babylonian supreme god, Marduk. Marduk is the supreme god of the Babylonian pantheon and the Babylonian king of the earth. Marduk plays an important role in the Bible. Marduk is the supreme god of the Babylonian pantheon and the patron god of Babylon. It was Marduk that the Babylonian Empire worshipped when the Babylonians conquered ancient Israel. And when Solomon's temple and the Ark of the Covenant were lost, Marduk and Babylon were also the ones responsible for the Jewish exile during the time of Babylonian captivity. Much like how the Bible in Genesis tells the story of creation of the earth, the Babylonians had the Enuma Elish. The Enuma Elish tells the epic story of the pre-existence of the earth and the primordial origins of the old gods and the birth of the new gods. The Enuma Elish tells the origins of the Babylonian versions of well-known gods such as Anu, Enki, and Marduk, and their rise to power and how these gods fought the primordial old gods and the forces of chaos to become the new supreme beings. The final major section of the Enuma Elish covers the creation of the earth, and the creation of humans and the reign of Marduk as the king of the earth. The last part of the Enuma Elish begins after Marduk killed Tiamat, the primordial goddess that raised an army of new gods and demons to fight Enki for killing her consort, the primordial god Apsu. With the death of Tiamat, Marduk and his retinue encircled the other new gods and killed a great number of them. Marduk bound the 11 demons and put the other new gods in prison. From the commander of the Tiamat's forces, Marduk stripped the tablet of destiny and placed it upon himself. From the body of Tiamat, who Marduk split in half with his magic bow, was used to create the heavens and the constellations and the earth. With the heavenly abode, he stationed abode with Enlil and Enki. The heights of the heavens he built with Tiamat's stomach and made the night. With the night he set the signs of the moon and made the clouds. From the blood of the eye sockets of Tiamat, Marduk made the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. From the upper half of her body, he made the earth, and used the rest of the body to make the heavens. From his creation, the other gods anointed him with kingship, and gave him an aura of terror. Marduk tied the 11 demons to his ankles, and he built a luxurious abode, and called it Babylon, home of the great gods, where he would hold a festival in Babylon. With the creation of the heavens and the earth through the body of Tiamat, and Marduk being anointed as king, Marduk conceived a desire to accomplish clever things. Marduk met with A, which is another name for Enki, and I will bring together blood to form bone. I will bring into being Lulu, whose name shall be Man. Enki responded, "Let one brother of theirs be given up. Let him perish that people may be fashioned." Marduk convened a council of gods. The council of gods declared that Kingu, who was the commander of the forces of Tiamat, to be executed, and his blood for the creation of mankind. From the blood of Kingu, Marduk created mankind. He then commanded that mankind serve the gods. Marduk then divided the gods he assigned 300 to guard the decrees of Anu. He then arranged and organized the underworld. and stationed 600 gods to heaven and the underworld. It then had the gods create Babylon. The Enuma Elish ends with Marduk being given 50 names and taking his place as king. With Marduk's final achievements, the Enuma Elish is finished. However, the Enuma Elish is full of contradictions. The first major contradiction comes from the creation of humans. Different versions of the Enuma Elish have different tellings of the story. In the predominant story, Marduk makes a human with the blood of a fallen god. This version is probably the most controversial. It is a significant departure from the greater Mesopotamian myths. Traditionally, Enki created mankind, and this original creation of mankind is reflected with the other versions of the Enuma Elish. In other versions of the Enuma Elish, Enki creates mankind, while the other versions have Marduk and Enki creating humans together. The idea of Marduk's actions instead of Enki is a common theme within the Enuma Elish. Despite its best efforts, the Enuma Elish directly challenges the original Sumerian and greater Mesopotamian mythology. This can be seen with the original king of the earth, Enlil. Throughout the Enuma Elish, Enlil is strangely absent. This is odd, since other major Mesopotamian gods are present. In the Enuma Elish, Marduk is the son of Enki, who is the son of Anu. Enki is the wise king and the defeater of Apsu, and his father, Anu, is subordinate to Anu's father, Anzar. Yet, in the very same story, both Kingu and Marduk receive Anuship. This is bizarre, because in the Enuma Elish, Anu is and never had been king. Yet, they treat it as kingship. In the context of the Enuma Elish, this does not make any sense. But, if one knows the older and original Mesopotamian mythology, it begins to make more sense. In the Sumerian creation myth, which predates the creation of the Enuma Elish by thousands of years, Anu is the king of the heavens. His authority was known as Anuship, and those who wield his authority use Anuship. The Enuma Elish understands this concept, since this has been the established canon for thousands of years. However, the Enuma Elish forgets to make Anu the king of the heavens, and the association with Anuship does not make any sense. Additionally, it is at the end of the Enuma Elish that we are finally introduced to Enlil. Enlil is mentioned in passing in the Enuma Elish, and only has Enlil giving praise to Marduk. This is bizarre as well. Enlil plays no role in the Enuma Elish, which is a monumental departure to the original Mesopotamian mythology. In the original mythology, Enlil is the son of Anu and younger brother of Enki. Enlil is also the king of the earth, which is known as Enlilship. It is Enlil, not Marduk, who was the original king of the earth, and it was Enlil, not Marduk, who was the supreme god to the lesser gods. Another connection between Marduk and Enlil can be seen at the end of the Enuma Elish, with Marduk receiving 50 names. This connection is significant, because Enlil's number was 50. This is not a coincidence, but purposeful. To better understand why the Enuma Elish tried and successfully accomplished in doing so was to have Marduk replace Enlil. But how did this happen? The Enuma Elish was written around the 9th century BC, during the time of Babylonian conquest. This time of Babylonian hegemony placed Babylon as the major power in the greater Mesopotamia, and it was no wonder that their local patron god became the head god of the peoples they conquered. This can be seen between King Hammurabi and King Nebuchadnezzar. During the reign of Hammurabi, Marduk was a local messenger god to the greater Mesopotamian pantheon. This changed with King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar is attributed to have been the root cause of the creation of the Enuma Elish. At some point around the time of King Nebuchadnezzar, Marduk took the place of Enlil as king of the earth. It was around this time that the Enuma Elish was also written. Marduk is older than the Enuma Elish by thousands of years, but Marduk in those thousands of years was never one of the great gods. Marduk was a local and insignificant god of Babylon. This humble origins of Marduk is even seen in the Enuma Elish. In the Enuma Elish, Marduk creates his abode in Babylon, before Babylon was even created, since the gods have not yet created it. One of Marduk's first commands was to have a festival. This is significant, since many historians believe that the festival of Marduk greatly influenced the story of the Enuma Elish, with its rituals making its way into the actions of Marduk in the Enuma Elish. Additionally, the Enuma Elish is not the first mention of Marduk. In the Babylonian writings, before the creation of the Enuma Elish, there is no mention of Marduk's position as a great god, but there are records of Marduk being a local messenger god of Babylon to give the great gods the messages of the Babylonian kings. If Marduk was never a great god, like how Marduk was in both the Babylonian history and the greater Mesopotamian myth, then who was Marduk before the Enuma Elish? It is widely believed that Marduk was originally the local, lesser god Ashur-li. Like Marduk, Ashur-li was a local god of Babylon. He was a farming god, like Marduk. His symbol was the farmer's spade, like Marduk. His father was Enki, like Marduk. The spade of Ashur-li was called Maru, which Marduk finds his name. It is clear that there was a concerted effort to raise Marduk to the level of a great god, despite Marduk never being one in the entirety of his history. Is Marduk Ashur-li? Why are there so many inconsistencies with the Enuma Elish? If a god is born, raised, and dies, can they be considered a god at all? Is Marduk still around today? Let me know in the comment section below, and for more Supernatural History TV, like and subscribe.